Hi, this is Ed Ballum. We're here at Firehouse Expo on the fifth and final day in Baltimore. Today we spoke to Dr. Peter Antevier from Florida about excited delirium and Billy Goldfeder about classes that he spoke about this week. We also spoke to a few people on the show floor as well to get their take on what was happening. And for full coverage, just go ahead and go to firehouse.com. This is the last day of the show, and today we had a presentation by Dr. Peter Antevier. And he gave a speech about excited delirium. And I'm going to let the doctor introduce himself and tell us where he's from. Doctor.
Thanks, Ed. So my name is Peter Antevier. I'm from Davie, Florida. I'm the medical director for Davie Fire Rescue. And today we talked about excited delirium syndrome, which is something that we're seeing a lot more commonly nowadays because of the bath salts and, of course, the drug use and so forth. Essentially, you have a patient who you'll get the call on scene that this patient is agitated, speaking incoherently. Most of the time, their clothes will be completely off. They'll be running around naked, very violent. They have a very high pain threshold, so they don't feel pain. And the important points are, number one, is to make sure that PD is not restraining them in a hog-tie position, making sure that they're not prone. So as an EMS provider, you get there, you have to take them out of the hog tie, restrain them, hopefully chemically. So we recommend a benzodiazepine, Versed, Valium. You can use Haldol if you have it. You can use ketamine, which is kind of new and up and coming. And making sure that you notify the hospital of possible excited delirium. And it's a medical emergency. And if people want to hear the actual presentation and narrated version, they can go to my website, which is hantevi.com. And I think it'll be up on the screen, and I appreciate being here.
Yes. Well, thank you very much, Doctor. You also said about BLS, and education is a strong part of what you advocate, to making sure people understand what excited delirium is, and you don't have to have the ability to give all these drugs to actually intervene and make a big difference.
That's correct. Yeah, I think, Ed, you make a great point that the BLS is very important here because these patients are essentially in a very heightened physiological state. So they have a high temperature, a high heart rate, they're breathing fast. So just knowing the basic physiology as a BLS provider, you can put cold packs on them. You can allow them to kind of breathe because their body knows what to do. We just want to avoid the police officers from harming them further. I'm not saying that we're harming them, but if we stop their breathing and we don't allow them to cool off, just from a basic BLS standpoint, then we may be doing them harm. So very important from a BLS standpoint.
Yes, and that's all it is always about, just saving lives and having education to be able to do that.
Okay, we're down here on the show floor. We've run into Jeff Heaton. Jeff, can you tell me your department, where you're from, and a little bit about your department?
From Oconee County Emergency Services. It's in upstate South Carolina. We run out of 17 houses, a little over 400 firefighters, combination department, run fire, first response, hazmat, tech rescue.
Okay. And can you tell me, have you been to the show before? Is this your first time? And some of the things that you've done while you're here at the show?
This is my 5th year here at the show. We kind of split it up between here and other shows. I kind of choose Baltimore because of the layout, the friendly atmosphere, and the way everything is professionally run here. Attended a couple classes yesterday, working the exhibit floor today, doing some planning for future purchases, meeting with different vendors, manufacturers, getting product information. It's kind of a one-stop shop type format, and we like that because it makes it a lot easier on us rather than having to chase down a lot of different people individually.
And what type of equipment are you looking for over the next couple of years to purchase that?
Right now we're planning on acquisition of 4 apparatus, PPE, tech rescue equipment, rehab equipment as well.
So the full gamut of...
Yep, full broad spectrum of everything we could get.
Okay. And are you here with anybody else from your area?
Here with my fire marshal, public information officer. He's up with me. He's pulling information as well for our Junior Firefighter Explorer program, some of our public service committees that we work with, and then with our Junior Fire Corps program.
Afternoon, Billy. How you doing?
I'm good. Enjoying this Baltimore heat.
So explain a little bit about the classes you gave today about firefighter health and safety.
Actually, I had a unique opportunity this week. I did 3 little mini classes all tied together. The first day we talked about responsibility of the company officer and chief officers. The second day we did some size up stuff and looked at some actual incidents. And then today we analyzed some of those to see not only at a house fire something bad can happen to you or a structural fire, but today we looked at a dumpster fire, for example, where a young firefighter was killed.
And I guess PPE and using seatbelts are a big.
To me, they're no-brainers. It's almost like, why are we still talking about it? But it's tragic. But just in the last couple of months, we've had several firefighters killed because they weren't wearing their seatbelts. Just put your damn seatbelt on. It's just not that hard.
So, what was the response from the crowd? Did you have a lot of naysayers that wouldn't have helped me?
I never have naysayers. They leave and then they naysay. No, we had a great turnout, and the attitudes are pretty positive. A lot of times when I present, the people who I'm presenting to are the ones that don't need the lesson. But once in a while we get a few, and having it in the hallway here is actually, while it's challenging to present in the exhibit hall, you get a lot of people walking by and they say, "What's he talking about?" And they come and listen in, and I know that Ray and Ott and the other guys also experienced the same thing. So no, I don't think so. I mean, we weren't talking about seatbelts 10 years ago, and nobody was wearing them. At least now we're starting to wear them. So I think we're making progress.
So you're seeing a little bit of a culture change, a little bit?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, I mean, we didn't talk about cancer 10 years ago. We didn't talk about size up like we are. We had really gotten away from the importance of putting water on the fire. And now we're back to that again, and I think it's a good thing.
So, like you say, you're seeing a lot more people taking care of themselves on the fire scene and responding to?
Yeah, and we are seeing the numbers. We've seen the line of duties come down. Now, we don't track injury like we should. Drexel University is doing a program where we're going to have a national tracking program. But absolutely, and again, the question I have for people is, if you go to your firehouse, you tell me in the last 10 years, has it changed? I don't know of a fire department or a rescue squad that hasn't changed the last 10 years as far as focusing on their members' survival and things like that.
Okay, we're down here on the show floor, and we run into two firefighters, a fire chief and a firefighter from Ewing, New Jersey. Can you tell me your name and your rank, please?
Yeah, my name is John Conte. I'm the chief of the department.
And I'm John Pop, and I'm a firefighter in the department.
Okay, guys.
Firefighter EMT.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, that's important. Okay.
Yes.
And can you guys just tell me, how long you've been here, what you guys have been doing so far on the floor, some of the stuff that you're looking at while you're down here on the exhibit floor?
Well, we come down here. The main reason is looking at fire trucks because we're due to purchase a new piece of apparatus. So we're looking at different trucks, getting ideas. Then we'll go back and hit the drawing board and come up with a plan as to what we want to buy after we look at all the different equipment, what options are out there. Of course, we come down here also to look at the equipment that's being sold because there's a lot of things that we do. We're an engine rescue company,
okay.
So there's a lot of equipment that can make our jobs a lot easier and safer. So that's why we come down here to look at those items too. Always know what's going on.
And so what type of equipment are you looking for? I mean, are you looking for extrication equipment? Are you looking for the more like technical rescue stuff or a combination? Or?
Combination of a whole bunch of different things. Whatever, if we have something now that's older and we feel that it needs to be replaced, we replace it. Because, of course, my guys are the most important thing that are out there. So you got to take care of them to make sure that they have the right equipment to do the right job.
Okay. Can you tell me about what you've been doing now while you're here this week?
We came out on Tuesday and Wednesday for the advanced vehicle rescue and the heavy rescue classes. On Wednesday we did the advanced vehicle rescue. Learned a bunch of new things. Some stuff we can't get vehicles for up there. We did some tunneling, vehicle on top of another, stabilization, that kind of thing. And then Wednesday we went with Captain Morris and did some heavy rescue, how stabilization, how to deal with dump trucks, cement mixers, that kind of thing. Very informative class. How to support, how to run the struts, using grip hoists, all kinds of things. Yeah.
All right, so when you guys head home back to Jersey, what are you going to be doing with your department? Are you going to be sharing this information? Are you going to create some drills? Or?
Yeah. We always look for new ideas to make drills exciting because we're a combination department. We have 3 career staff that work Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. The rest of the time is all volunteers. Okay. So drills have to be exciting or guys lose interest. Mm-hmm. So we're constantly looking for new ideas, new things to keep everybody's interest up and make sure our guys stay with us. So that's a task in itself.
Yes, it is. That's a great reason to be.
Hi, I'm Susie with Firehouse.com, and with me today is Captain Bob.
Bob Dummel with the Rochester Fire Department.
Bob, how did the class go today? And I understand you had quite a challenge last year about this time with a crane extrication.
Class went very well. It revolved around an incident we had last August where a crane tipped over, pinning the operator beneath it. It was a joint effort between EMS and fire emergency responders to work on stabilization and extrication of the victim from the crane. We were able to share a lot of good information both on the fire side for rescue and on the EMS side, the different challenges we had, such as crush injury.
Tell me a little bit about your challenges. I understand it was on a slope and the river, part of the boom was in the river.
Yeah, the crane had turned over. It was working on the face of a dam that was going through maintenance and construction phases. It flipped over. The boom landed in the river, keeping it from completely submerging itself with the victim pinned under it. We're on about a 30 to 40 degree slope. Accessibility issues and the instability of the crane were our initial hazards we had to deal with, along with the injuries to the individual in the crane.
So I understand even gaining access to the scene was challenging. How'd you get the tools down there and the personnel?
The personnel, we had one catwalk style ladder. We were able to descend down to the location, and then we ended up bringing in additional rope rescue units to set up rigging systems, and a Stokes basket is a makeshift elevator to lower and raise equipment to the scene.
I understand you actually utilized personnel from a construction company that were there to help.
Yes, we went with a mutual aid plan we have in our community, brought in outside departments with additional technical rescue resources, such as grip hoists in this case, cable systems to retain the cables on the crane so that it wouldn't move when they were working around and underneath it. At that point, because of the distances and the types of equipment that were needed, we utilized the construction workers on site, which was very beneficial because of the types of heavy rigging equipment that they possess.
How long did it take you to at least gain access so that you could actually try to remove him?
We were able to gain immediate access once we were initially dispatched and got down there. That went rather quick. The big challenge was accessing the victim, who was pinned up and under the vehicle, and because of the lack of stability until we secured it, we were only having very minimal access to the victim himself.
So you had one rescuer or one person, maybe a paramedic, who stayed in contact with the victim at all times?
Yes, one of the individuals, the EMT from the First and Engine Company, made access and communications with the victim, who at the time was communicating verbally with him, and stayed in that position for the entire duration of the incident.
And the medical director also was on the scene?
Yes, he was special called in as part of our local policy and procedures. He came in, took over the EMS component, and was a key component in the positive outcomes of the EMS side and how we work, the safety of the individuals, and bringing that extremely high level of knowledge to the scene immediately available to us.
And he's one of the people who, gets a hard hat on and goes to work. He's not standing back with a clipboard or just his medical bag, right?
Correct. He's in his turnout gear with his protective equipment and down in the trenches, be it at this crane incident or any of our other technical rescue incidents. We're very fortunate to have that type of a program in our community. And it adds much to the success and professionalism of our operation.
I understand the thing didn't go so well, and there was a point to where that you lifted the crane off him and he was still pinned?
Yes, the individual part of his lower extremity was totally encapsulated by the crushed steel of the cab. So once we were able to effect a safe lift, unfortunately the individual expired due to the injury sustained during the actual rollover of the crane and pretty much succumbed to the injuries from a crush injury type of situation. So even with all the extended efforts by both the fire and EMS community, the individual didn't, make it, which is not what we're wired to go and deal with, but it definitely challenged us in many facets throughout the entire event.
So I guess after the doctor, made the final call that, resuscitation wasn't an effort, I guess you had to look after your own and get them out of there and get back to, get them hydrated and CISM?
Yes, we at that point we went from a rescue to a recovery mode, which is from a command position was a very difficult thing. We're not usually wired to do that. Most of our events have either good outcomes or the outcome has taken place prior to our arrival. So we went into a critical incident debriefing type of format, took care of the needs of the responders, rotated shifts, brought in another crew for the recovery phase. It just happened to fall on the time of day where we would traditionally be doing a shift change anyways. And at that point, one of the benefits we have with the medical director being so well versed and familiar with our operations, he spent the following day visiting the stations of the companies that were immediately involved, talking to them and helping them get through the challenges they were facing because of the outcome.
So you had a critique and lessons learned and saw what you could do better or different next time?
Yes, you can always improve. Even the best run and the best outcomes of an incident always provide you with opportunities to improve, enhance, and make it better. And we use this one in the same way. Our medical director and myself have utilized the program we did today in a couple different forums to share the knowledge, the value we bring with this type of a program. It's a broad spectrum. It's not an EMS-only program. It's not a rescue-only program. It gives you the entire big picture from incident command, first-in companies, accountability, and so on. We try to cover every point of the compass to give the biggest value to our people, and we can always learn from lessons learned and incidents happened.
Okay, Bob, thanks a lot for your time today.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me here.
Okay, we're here at the end of Firehouse Expo 2012. We're here with the Vice President of Firehouse Events. Ed, can you tell me a little bit about what we have to look forward to in 2013?
Well, sure. First, we'll be back here in Baltimore, third week of July. We made a lot of progress this year as far as working more closely with the local firefighters union and really changing the experience for attendees here at the show. This year with the 9/11 Patch Group, we had a comedy show on Thursday evening. We did a networking reception. We'll build on that. We'll work with the union, but we really want to get something put together out in that Camden Yards parking lot that involves the union. Everybody can be part of. A lot of momentum this year. We've made some changes. We'll continue to move forward, and we're excited and planning already for 2013, Pete.
Ed, can you give me the dates for next year's show as well as information on how to register and prepare for 2013's Firehouse Expo?
Sure. Next year, we're July 23rd to the 27th here in Baltimore. And for more information, go to firehouseexpo.com.